back in Genesis.
Right. Enoch was taken, and he was no more,
Yeah.
So Enoch is valid because he was mentioned. But I don't know about the second or third Enoch, though. But I know the first one, I believe, is valid.
That's why you've got to use discernment. You've got to use discernment with everything in the Bible and everything that's not in the Bible, like from the Apocrypha. You've got to look at what resonates, what connects with everything else.
My way of, if you're going to look at the book of the Bible, I look at, I really feel it's like how they chopped, there was that story of, that Egyptian story of this god, they tricked him and he went into a sarcophagus and they chopped him up in pieces. Well, that's what I feel like truth is. Like, he's been chopped up in pieces, truth. Just say hypothetically like Jesus.
I agree.
That was him. And he's been chopped up in pieces and spewed all out, and then they put him back together. So just look at like 1, 2, 3 different books. We'll just say those three, like the Jews, the Muslims, and then the Christians. And each part of him is in each one of those books.
It's the three-horned beast.
Each of them have got a little piece of the puzzle, and nobody's put it together because they never found every piece of him when they put him back together. The snake is missing.
Bruce, but it's not about Jews and Christians and Muslims. That's the beast. That system was created by the beast system. The beast himself. So that system is false. It's a falsehood to keep people in control. That's what that's all about. To love Jesus and follow Jesus has nothing to do with Christianity, or being a Muslim or being a Jew. None of that. You have to free yourself from that system, in order to be true to yourself and true to our Creator.
Oh, that's a Christian way, because you were saying about Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not a Christian, though. I follow Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
I mean, there's a difference, Bruce, in being a Christian and being a follower of Jesus.
Okay, what I'm discovering about this Jesus story, and that I feel I've met him in spirit, because
there's historical fact. There's historical fact that he existed, Bruce.
Well, people say they see black shadows. So when I seen him, he wasn't a black shadow. Like, I see a lot of black shadows.
Yes.
That's his souls that are around.
Absolutely.
He wasn't just a black shadow. He had all these glitters inside him.
Colors.
No, it was only just the white. It was like all the stars moving inside. It was like, it wasn't colourful. That's a different thing.
He was white and glittery. Wow.
Like those shadows, like a black shadow, but inside that shadow, and nothing coming out of it, all the sparks were moving around inside that shadow. So I see other people with clips on videos, and a lot of people talking about these shadow people and this and that, but I don't hear them talking about ones with glitters inside them. Like,
tell me your story about that, Bruce, please. Is it okay, Therian?
Yeah.
Yeah, please tell us. I want to know.
Well, the Jesus part is just like that, and it was over, okay? Meaning, like, I was on my walkabout, okay? I lived in this Buddhist place and went away from there, and because, I realised, at 30-odd, people actually really believed in God. Like me, I've never been entrenched with it. So I went to and searched to, like, what is this all about? Is there really something out there? And this thing's opened up to me and this and that. So I went to find like that. So I came across, so I stayed in just hitching around. I went celibate for 9 months. I lived on the side of the road. People were picking me up hitchhiking. I'd worked for my keep. I had no money, so I just worked for my keep, carry on, travel, this and that. And one of these communities when I went to, and on the wall there was this plaque, and it said, somebody, anybody, everybody, and nobody had the job to do. So there were 4, and in the end, as I'm reading the plaque, somebody thought that anybody was going to do it, everybody thought that anybody was going to do it. In the end, the job was left to nobody, and I go, nobody had the job to do, and I just said that And I went, wow, nobody's got the job to do. And I turned my head after this is me reading that and that, so I'm reading it all in my mind. I'm at a park and like people at this community and all that, and it was function. Then I turned my head, and so they're like where I was around, were like hippie kind of like people who live permaculture. There was a permaculture unit place, and I turned my head, and this one man just stuck out. Like, I looked straight at this one man, and he spoke to me in telepathy, and it was like that's where I just heard like Jesus, and like it pulled, and I'm reading that and nobody, and then I turn my head, look at this man, and I'm looking at him, and I'm feeling telepathy. I'm hearing Jesus, so just the word Jesus, and then because he's like one of my angels, because I come across him, and the other time when I look at them like I come across again another one, and he said me. So I only heard that word, okay? So I'm seeing him like that, and the people, he had a hoodie on, and all I could see was the underneath the hoodie was like how you see those how they talk about those shadow people. He was like a shadow, but he had all glitters, like all the stars moving in his face. He didn't have a face there. So I walked over to him, and then he became, I turned like that and walked, then turned back to him. Then he was a man, like he had a face. So, but then I wasn't picking up no telepathy. So, but I had to walk up to this man. I sat and I spoke to him and all this and that. And invited me back to his place the next day and this and that. And we spent the night. I helped him working the day and spent the night. And he was like. He's a farmer, and I really feel that the spirit of Yeshua, Jesus, well, the name was Jesus, what was come, and because it must be part of this whole play because of other things that I've come about. So he's the one who put me on my direction, okay? Because when I spent the day with him, I have never worked with anybody in my life. Like I was amazed even the way he was. Like he was so humble. I worked and I was like moving these windows with him. We're putting windows underneath his house, and I would carry like 2 or 3 or something like that, and he would just take one each time. And it's like, if you've heard of the story of Milarepa, it's like moving the stones from here to there, and we done it, and it was really freaky. And I look back at it, and it was a really. So then later I stay and had dinner there that night and blah blah, and then he corrected me on my mission because I had already interpreted, you would have heard it on my videos, I am living in existence of this, but I used to say back then before I met him, I am living in this existence of this mechanism of life. He taught me, you guys would hear me on my video now saying, I am living in existence of this organism of life.
Yes.
So out of our whole talking, he corrected me and showed me the organism and frequency of sound, that we're not in a contract and like you've got a magnet holding you here or you've got gravity holding you here. It's actually your frequency, and that stems from your emotion and well, how you call it, like your aura, your chakras. And
I think aura.
And that's what makes it all just. And how people say that they're trapped in this. He explained.
We were created by frequency, Bruce. The spoken word, that's frequency. Electromagnetism, that's exactly what it is.
Yes. Yes. But he showed me how you can get out of here. and that's what I carried with me, and I walked to another place. It wasn't called heaven because didn't have a name like that, but it was just like another world. Okay? This other world was changed in front of me, and I put out that frequency, and it was just like how I do with him, and like in my mind I'd go like, I love you, and his mind would come back to me that I love me. So he taught me about me and you. He taught me about the love of me and you. That I don't exist here, or you do not exist there, with me seeing you from my perspective here. As one with the essence would be all alone. So just hypothetically say God was all alone in a garden and he had nobody else because nobody else could see him back.
Okay.
To see him back, meaning like the way he showed me that if I'm saying to him, I love you, he's saying back to me, I love me.
Wow.
We both exist because of the knowing of one another.
Yes, right.
And God is just a state of mind.
Yes, that's awesome. That's so deep. And you know, with you saying, you used to say the mechanism, and now you were taught proper as the organism. Does that not make you think of how everybody's so deceived, saying that we're in a created simulation, which takes it back to a mechanism and not the actual creation, which is an organism?
Yes.
Yes.
And that gets entrenched by us. I went to school like other people, but I didn't read too much. But I got entrenched in my brain that gravity holds us here. Gravity holds this whole universe together. Can you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I met him that he got me out of the everyday norm that we have all been. It's not our fault.
We are indoctrinated in lies. We are indoctrinated with a lie. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Bruce. Thank you.
So that was so. I think this is the first time I've ever read, because I don't. Now I'm into a bit of the story here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because I haven't really said too much now on my channel. It's just I actually went back there one day with somebody, and the whole place turned into mist, and nobody was there. Like, because the guy got out of the car and he came down. First, I was walking down the driveway and I'm seeing the place and everything. But I asked this guy to stay in the car. I'm just going to see stuff. But he got out of the car and he